son is racing.
Welcome, race fans, to another episode of the Rubbin' Is Racing Daily Fantasy NASCAR Show. We have all your information from Charlotte Motor Speedway for the All-Star Race. And by all your information, we have a completely washed out practice and just qualifying results to talk about. So Liehr and I are going to mix it up a little bit different for the show today. Liehr, let's go ahead and talk about the 4 drivers that we don't know who are in the All-Star race yet. What about that Monster Energy Open?
Yeah, brother. So we've got the All-Star race at 8 p.m. Tomorrow night, and then that's pre to that race. There's a race called the Monster Energy Open that will advance 4 drivers out of a field of 21, and pretty obvious picks probably for who's going to be advancing, but so it's going to be based off of the first stage 20 laps, winner of that, the second stage 20 laps, and then the race winner will get the 3rd advancement, and then of course the fan vote for the most popular all-star votes, which by default could go to somebody. So we'll see how that happens to maybe one of the lower tier guys.
Yeah, I mean, default, it's going to Chase Elliott unless he wins the stage somehow or ends up winning the race. And remember, kids, in the Monster Energy Open, what traditionally happens is if you win the first stage of the race, you then park your car. There's no reason to go out and continue to race and put mileage on your car as you are racing in the All-Star race. So don't be surprised when you see the winners of Stage 1 and Stage 2 park their ride because they're already through to the All-Star race. Now, I think it's pretty clear once we put Chase Elliott in the fan favorite vote who the 3 cars are going to be that go ahead and advance through. I think the first is clearly the guy sitting on the pole in Eric Almirola. That car has just been so much faster and is so much better than half the cars in the All-Star race. And to be honest, the entire field that he's going against, I see him leading the first 20 laps and parking that car after Stage 1. Liehr, your thoughts on Almirola?
Yeah, I mean, that team has just been unbelievable this season. Just completely, turned that number 10 team around, and he's just been performing well, and that team's been on to a great start so far in the 2018 season. And I don't know if you've seen the car, man. Pretty cool with Waffle House on there this weekend. But, yeah, I definitely look for them to advance. Without a doubt, they have by far the best car there in the Open. So, I mean, no doubt in my mind that they're going to get one of the spots for sure.
As far as I'm concerned, the other 2 spots are clearly going to go to Eric Jones and Daniel Suarez. Unless something weird happens, those JGR cars are just, once again, so much better than the rest of the field. I'd say there's an outside chance if there's some carnage that maybe Bubba Wallace, Dinger, or Reagan, or McDowell could squeeze through, or maybe even a Busher. But once again, you really have to get carnage for that kind of craziness to take place.
One person that I do like is a sneaky one is Paul Menard and those guys in those. I know he's in Wood Brothers, but he's got that Penske affiliate, and they've been fast with all the Stewart Haas guys too this year. And Poppa and I will talk about it later, but the Fords have just obviously dominated 2018. So although Paul Menard has horrible stats here, when it comes to
Stole my thunder. I was just gonna say how terrible he is here.
I mean, you never know with those guys. That's all I'm gonna say. I mean, it's a crafty veteran with a good car.
Yeah, and I mean, there's always the outside chance that a Bowman could squeak in or something like that.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm going with the statistical favorites here, and I just don't think that anybody has the equipment that those JGR and that Stewart Haas car has, and Chase Elliott just has the numbers on the fandom. That's what it is. First, before we get into the actual All-Star race and who we have picked to win, I think we owe people a burning rubber for the All-Star race, even though we're not doing burning rubber picks. I think the people long to hear you do a burning rubber All-Star race style.
Burning rubber Saturday night Charlotte All-Star Racing, baby!
Oh, that lived up to its hype. I feel better now. All right, so kids, we've got the All-Star race lineup. It is set. We've got Roush Fenway on the pole with Kenseth and Sticky Ricky 1 and 2. Congratulations to Kenseth. That's awesome for that team, especially as bad as Bane was running in that car.
Restrictor plates.
Right? Roush Fenway does tend to like the restrictor plates as it finally puts them on an even keel with the rest of the field. With that said, guys, we have no idea what's going to happen. I would look to play cars from the back of the field. The cars that are advancing through this week are going to be great plays, especially the Stewart-Haas JGR combos. They're just better than some of the cars that are already in the All-Star race. Instinctually, I'm wanting to play Larson, Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin, some of the guys that qualified in the back, and then try to pick one of the real studs of the NASCAR circuit. But I mean, it's a restrictor plate, so anything could happen with these cars. Do you have a strategy you're going with this week?
Honestly, I'm probably not going to be playing too much DraftKings this weekend. It's just gotten to a point where, especially on this limited amount of drivers and the amount of tournaments that they're offering this weekend, it's hard to play. I'm probably going to do some qualifiers this weekend, but we'll definitely throw a couple lottery picks out there. So, but most are probably going to be doing some FanDuel, but. I definitely like the guys on Saturday night that are starting from the mid-pack, just because this is going to be a restrictor plate race. The changes that they made were, putting the restrictor plates in the motors and then the air in duct takes on the front bumpers and letting the air in flow is different. So
don't forget that giant spoiler on the back.
Spoiler, yeah, and the spoiler. So. But I'm definitely looking forward to watching them, race and have a great time. And I think it's going to be one of those to where, there's $1 million on the line. So there's going to be some stuff that happens this weekend. We only have 80 laps this week. Mm-hmm. Okay. So it's 30, 20, 20, and 10. So you're not going to have a ton of time to lead get a ton of points to lead laps. And gain a bunch of points that direction. It's going to be a little bit of the tweeners. So that's why I like some of the middle tier guys, because guys that are starting in the middle, just because you get some of that place differential, but yet you're probably going to get the opportunity as well to gain some of those fastest laps and laps led to optimize those points this weekend. So that's kind of where my head's at this weekend. I don't specifically have anybody particular that I like over another. If I really had to pick one, I'd probably say Denny Hamlin's probably one of my favorites. When you throw the other four guys in there with 21, with him starting 14th.
And the other crazy thing is DraftKings did not make salaries tight, so it is not hard to put anyone you want on a lineup, and you can stud out if you want. It's not difficult to do, and it's really a crapshoot. Now, remember, guys, we saw earlier this year, even though it's tradition at restrictor plate tracks, you want to play all the cars from the back. The winning lineup played all cars from the top 10 except from the one that started last. And that ended up taking down the big boy last time we were at a restrictor plate. Basically, the lesson to learn is that anything is possible at a restrictor plate, and there's not a proper way to tell you how to play because carnage can lead to anything. And with a shortened restrictor plate race, it even more is up in the air.
Yeah, and I think that, obviously we kind of going into unprecedented charted waters with this, with the restrictor plates, but also too, the guys are going to be trying to stay out front as much as possible. Plus there's not huge long runs either. So it's going to be run, break, run, break. So there's going to be chances for multiple guys to lead some laps. So I really, really don't think we're going to have, in essence, like a complete dominator. I don't see, Ricky Stenhouse or Clint Boyer, leading, the whole race. Or, you do have Kevin Harvick in fourth. And just because Kevin Harvick has had if you want to talk about all-stars of all-stars, that guy has been the number one all-star in 2018, had an unbelievable season. So you really know, obviously, you guys out there, that you can't go wrong starting your lineups with number 4. But you got to also think, too, that's going to be pretty chalk. So
there are times not to be chalky, and there are times to be chalky. Restrictor plate is one of those times where it helps to not be chalky. But with 21 drivers, especially if you're playing any of the giant tournaments over on DraftKings, odds are you are going to have duplicate lineups with tons of people. That's why I hate those lottery contests, especially on a shortened field size of drivers.
And honestly, that's why we're not we're probably going to talk about it later, but we're not having the league this week, just for the pure fact of that.
The league championship is supposed to be the person making the best lineups over the course of a season. and the All-Star race doesn't add to that, we don't feel like. So we're going to leave it out. In years past, DraftKings hasn't even offered contests on All-Star weekend, and it was usually a weekend for all of us to kind of take off and enjoy, and just kind of enjoy some crazy race style. So, Liehr, I think it's time, since we don't have a whole lot to add about this week's race, to go ahead and give away the autographed Kyle Larson hero card. I have everyone's names that commented, liked, and shared in the hat. See? Lots of names. They're all folded up.
Monster Energy Cup hat.
Yep. Liehr, tell me when to draw.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right.
And hold on, let me make a guess.
Okay. Who is the guess?
Well, I like to give the guy some love just because he watches this show every week and always, without a doubt, without fail, gives us some sort of comment. So I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm going to say C Money.
No, it was not C Money. It's another one of our loyal commenters, Big Action. I know.
Big Action. Yeah. All right.
All right, dude. So, Big Action, you need to message me on Twitter, and I need your address to send this hero card out to you as soon as possible. We'll go ahead and take care of that. Guys, just a heads up, there are going to be a ton more of these giveaways. Liehr and I got autographed hero cards from a ton of drivers, and we asked specifically to have them autograph extra ones for our fans of the show. We have some Harvick autographs that we're going to be giving out. We have a Rowdy autograph that we may be giving out. We have some Menard, some Truex. We also have Harvick lug nuts that come straight from his race win at Kansas. Thank you, Kevin, for autographing the hat and taking time. The guy is amazing, real nice guy, as well as all the people there at Stewart Haas. They did some awesome stuff for us this past weekend.
Yeah, I mean, dude, awesome weekend with you last weekend, bro. We saw an unbelievable race. At first, it was a little kind of boring just because, it was long green flag runs.
Mm-hmm.
But we did have some, lead changes between, Harvick and Blaney and Larson coming all the way back from the rear with violation, obviously, in the back window.
Oh, and then Truex trying to win it at the end.
Yeah, and then Truex was right there at the end, going for the win. And it was an unbelievable, fantastic weekend. Got to talk to Casey Kane, which was one of my, first guys that I loved in NASCAR. So to honestly talk to that guy for a little bit was awesome. Also, too, at the end of the race, it was one of the most awesome experience I've ever had. We're standing there next to the Busch car after it's gone to victory lane, getting ready for post-inspection, and there's the 78 in front of it. There's Cole Pern, and Poppa went and talked to him. I can't remember. Did you just get a picture with him, or did you?
I mean, dude, I am terrible at selfies, and if only I had the skills of a 20-year-old girl at taking selfies, I would have an awesome one with Cole Pern. But I think, there's a greasy Poppa finger over the selfie lens on the Cole Pern picture. But, guys, he gave us permission to say Pern or Pern.
Yeah, so we got to make sure we put that out there.
Depending on my mood, I'm going to say both, right? If I'm in a Canadian mood, I will say Pern. Or I'm going to say Pern if I'm in a Midwestern, Southern mood. So we're just going to roll with it. But, man, I wanted to thank Cole again for taking the time to talk to us. It was awesome.
It was awesome. The guy talked to us for 10, 15 minutes. It was unbelievable.
A lot of fun. We met a lot of wonderful people at NASCAR, and want to thank each and every one of them that took their time to spend time with us and to talk to us about racing. It was absolutely fabulous. And guys, I want to say this to everyone out there. If you ever have the opportunity to get hot or cold passes to a race, do it. It is by far the best race experience you can ever have, and it's really fascinating to be able to be that close to cars, to meet the drivers, to interact with the crew members, and even the designers, and it's just amazing meeting guys that their sole purpose is they're the team cook. They're some of the nicest people and the coolest people to interact with, and you can learn some amazing things about racing. And I just wanted to thank everybody for that opportunity that they afforded us by talking to us and hanging out with us. That was really special, and thank you.
For sure, man. I enjoyed every second of it.
I'm just glad I got to go too with my best bud in NASCAR, my co-host. It was so much fun, man.
Well, I think on top of that, the best moment last weekend was pre-race. Pop and I went to the infield. After we go out and we signed the start-finish line, and we're standing on the infield, and the Gin Blossoms are playing, and a guy walks by with his family, passes me. Poppa actually went up because he was like, dude, I want to go check out this song. I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to hang back here for a second. And he went up there. And
dude,
then,
first of all, I love the Gin Blossoms. That took me back to high school, man. That was just fantastic. All right, go ahead with the story.
So then all of a sudden I just get this tap on the shoulder, and guy says, are you Jamie Liehr? Rubbing his racing? Yeah. And it was a gentleman by the name of Corey, and his wife and their 2 children. They were there at the race for the first time, their first NASCAR race, and said he watched the show, and it was just awesome. They're great people. They came down from South Dakota, and we're having a great family vacation in Kansas City and checking out their first NASCAR race. And it's just awesome to know that, there's people out there that watch our show, and definitely thanks for saying hi, Corey. It was awesome, man. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to meet all of you guys when we can. So, guys, hit us up when you're going to be at a track where we're at. Like, that'd be great. We love making like actual personal contact with most of you guys. It's a lot of fun. So, with that said, guys, I think we're going to wrap up another week of the Rubbin' is Racing. But before we do, Lear's going to give last week's winner of the contest at Kansas. I believe 6 of you had the same lineup from last week. After all, we did tell you it was going to be a chalk lineup week, so congrats to the 6 of you that tied for first. Liehr?
That was awesome, man. It was our first one of the season where we have more than I believe isn't this the first one where we've had more than one at the top?
Yeah, at the top. We've had 2 people tie for second a couple times, but yeah.
So not only 2 people, but we've got 6 this time. So congratulations to Goodfellas 55, ACG Agode, Chicago Joe 6, Wiscoins 25, our buddy Joe up there in Wisconsin, Sig Boiler 311, Mutant Genocide. Congratulations to you guys, 378 points. Clint Boyer, Chalky of Chalk, that I talked about last week. Matt DiBenedetto, which we also mentioned him on the show as well. Got a 22nd place finish. Then, of course, the legend of 2018, Kevin Harvick, with the most points out of anybody, 101. I'm sorry, he was second compared to Larson. Then Eric Jones, that was the one that was the difference maker there, finished 7th with 43.5. Then you had Kyle Larson starting 22nd there, got a 4th place finish, but led a ton of laps, 101 laps, most of anybody there. And then Michael McDowell, another one we talked about on the show last week, 36th to 20th with 41.5. So we're pretty much spot on, except for just that little Eric Jones play. But too bad Newman didn't do it for me, man. I had a runner late.
Yeah, Liehr was running really late until Newman got the front of his car ripped off by. Yeah, like he was actually climbing. He was 2.5 points away, with like gaining points every lap, and woo! Thanks to his favorite rookie, he went from climbing to non-existent.
Oh, Billy!
Congratulations to the 6 people that tied for first place again. Hopefully, when it comes to the Charlotte 600, we'll have a bit more differentiation between lineups and get a little bit more spacing between all of us competing for that season-long championship. With that said, guys, thanks for tuning in. As always, remember to like, share, be subscribed if you aren't. That way you can get a hold of some of this sweet swag that we got, these autographed hero cards for you, and we'll probably give away another an autographed diecast before the end of the season. So, Liehr, say your goodbyes and let's get out of here.
All right, guys. Appreciate you watching the show. Enjoy your weekend this weekend. A little Saturday night racing again. Won't be quite as what the following weekend will be for the 600, but a little teaser. But looking forward to seeing how these cars run with those restrictor plates on it. I always appreciate the love, everybody. Have a great weekend.